Please ensure the loan repayment. While I was at work, an unexpected email arrived. Alarmed, I quickly called Greg. He answered calmly, as if nothing was amiss. "Oh, yeah, sorry about that," he said casually. "I've fallen for someone else. I'm starting a new life with her." Then he revealed something even more shocking. He planned to take the luxury camper van we had just purchased under my name through a loan. Despite my desperate attempts to stop him, Greg cut the call short and vanished. And just like that, Greg disappeared with his new lover, leaving behind nothing but debt and heartbreak. I never imagined being abandoned like this, especially not as a mother to our 10-year-old son. I felt utterly lost, my mind blank with disbelief. My name is Hannah. I'm 35, as was my husband, Greg. We were a family of 3, and our son Ryan had always been a bright, curious child, reading complex articles and asking insightful questions. In contrast, Greg had always been unstable, unable to hold down steady work. For the past 3 years, though, Greg had finally maintained a consistent income. Encouraged by this newfound stability, he began talking about building lasting family memories. That's what led us to purchase a $35,000 camper van. But because Greg didn't qualify for financing, I took the loan in my name. On the day we were supposed to receive the camper van, I received that email from Greg. He announced, as if doing me a favor, that he would be taking the van, and since the loan was under my name, I would be responsible for repaying it. Stunned, I called him immediately. His voice was detached, cold. "I didn't plan for it to go this far. It started as a fling, but now I want to start over with her. I'll be filing for divorce. Bye." With that, he hung up. My heart dropped. It was the first time I fully grasped how deeply he had betrayed me. Every attempt to contact him afterward was met with silence. When I got home and checked our drawer, the divorce papers we had once discussed were gone, along with Greg, and I was left with a $35,000 loan for a camper I no longer had. I kept emailing and calling him, hoping for some explanation. Nothing. That night after dinner, Ryan approached me. He had noticed something was off. "Mom, are you okay? You haven't been eating much." Yeah, maybe I'm just tired." When people lie, they look up to the right. That's what my book said. I also noticed Dad hasn't been home for days. Did something happen? His perceptiveness caught me off guard. I took a deep breath and gently explained everything. "I see," he said after a moment. "That's just like Dad. Aren't you sad?" "Of course I am. I kind of saw it coming," Ryan replied with a faint smile, but I could see through it. He was trying to be strong, for me. I silently apologized to him in my heart and pushed through the days, trying to stay strong. But my body had other plans. One day at work, I couldn't stand. I collapsed. I need a break," I whispered before everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in a hospital room. The doctor said I needed further tests and should be admitted. Emotional stress, they said, but something more serious was suspected. Lying in the hospital bed, for in my arm, I stared at the white ceiling, tears silently falling. I felt pathetic, overwhelmed. Then Ryan burst into the room, face pale with worry. "Mom, are you okay? Is it something serious? You're not going to die, right?" "No, sweetheart, I'd never leave you." "Thank goodness. I was so scared. The teacher told me you were hospitalized." He was only 10, but at that moment, he looked so much older, his maturity holding back his fear. The tests came back. It wasn't just stress. I was diagnosed with a serious illness and needed surgery, urgently. I agreed. The surgery went well, but by the time I was discharged, a full month had passed since Greg left. Returning home, I checked the mailbox and found a loan repayment notice. Wait, wasn't the payment supposed to be auto-deducted? Panicked, I rushed to check my bank account. The balance, once $20,000, was now $33.90. Greg had taken everything. I wanted to confront him, to get the money or the van back, but he was completely unreachable, and without the van, I couldn't even sell it. Everything was falling apart. I sank deeper into despair. Ryan, watching me, placed his hand on my forehead. "Mom, you look pale again. Are you feeling sick?" "I'm okay, just overwhelmed. Your father took the car and all our savings. I can't work while I recover. And we're broke. I understand. Then I'll help. I'll deliver newspapers or look for online jobs I can do. His words lit a small spark in me. I smiled. Thank you, Ryan. I'm so proud of you. I can't let this defeat me. I'll do whatever I can. He smiled back, then leaned in and said something surprising. Let's figure out how to get the camper van back from Dad. What? How? It's in your name, right? Yes, but then maybe we can. And with that, Ryan laid out an idea I'd never considered, one that just might change everything. I don't know where your father is. Then let's check my phone. A month earlier, during a family hike, something unexpected had happened. Ryan got lost. It was unusual for such a responsible boy. After that, we got him a kid's cell phone on a friend's advice and installed a GPS tracking app, one Greg and I both had access to. With this app, I can track Dad in real time. He's been moving around a lot. Oh, but even if we find him, what if he just dodges us again like last time? As I mulled over the possibility, Ryan gave me a knowing grin. Don't worry, I already took precautions. What did you say? To my astonishment, Ryan had acted on his own while I was still hospitalized, and what he pulled off was beyond anything I imagined. He'd even managed to dig up information about Greg's mistress. I was stunned. How could a child this clever be mine? All right then, I said, regaining my composure. Let's teach your father, a man who betrayed us, a proper lesson. Okay, Ryan said. Let's start the plan right away. With determination in our hearts, my son and I got to work. 3 days later, my phone rang. Hey, it's me. I need your help. Oh, and who might this be? Don't mess around. It's Greg. The police showed up asking questions about you. They're saying I might need to go involuntarily. Just help me out here. Oh, really? Hang on a minute. I turned to Ryan. Let's go. We found Greg not far from home, in a wooded park that allowed camping. He was standing beside the camper van, looking agitated as police officers questioned him. I approached and politely asked for a moment alone with him. Greg, clearly uncomfortable with the attention he was drawing, ushered Ryan and me into the van. Inside sat his mistress, legs crossed, arms folded, and glaring at us with disdain. I ignored her. Thanks for coming, Greg muttered. But why'd the police come after me? I don't get it. Because I reported the camper van as stolen, I said coolly. What? Why would you do that? Because the van is mine. It's in my name. You took it without permission. That's theft. Greg scoffed. Come on, we're married. That kind of thing doesn't count between spouses. Newsflash, you filed for divorce. Remember that little detail? We're not a married couple anymore. So, you're driving a stranger's car, illegally. Greg's jaw slackened as the realization dawned. Meanwhile, Ryan leaned forward calmly. Give us the keys back, now. Greg hesitated, then slowly handed them over. Once I had them in hand, Ryan looked his father dead in the eye. Why did you leave your family and run off with her? Greg flinched, taken aback by the question. His mistress snorted and rolled her eyes. Obviously because I'm more attractive than your mom. Just look at me. He couldn't resist. Quiet. I wasn't talking to you. Ryan snapped, his voice steely. Dad, answer me. Greg scratched his head awkwardly but said nothing. If you won't talk, that's fine. I'll just bring the police back and have them arrest you. Wait, okay, I'll explain. Greg confessed that the woman, Mandy, had joined his company 3 months ago. They connected during the new hire party and soon began a relationship. When Mandy found out she was pregnant, Greg decided to leave us and start a new life with her. I quit my job and figured I could sell the camper van for cash, but we thought we'd take one last trip first. And how do you think we found you? I asked. He looked confused. Remember when Ryan got lost on that hike? We bought him a kid's phone after that. Remember? And installed a GPS tracker. The same one we also added to your phone. Greg's face went pale. Later, Ryan told me something shocking. He had faked getting lost on that hike just to convince us to get him a phone. Also, he could track Greg when he suspected something was wrong. I was speechless at his foresight. I knew something was off with Dad, Ryan said, so I planned ahead. You really are scary smart. I said, half laughing. I'll never be the kind of adult your father is. A man who betrays the people who love him. Greg said nothing. He couldn't. I turned back to him. And the $20,000 you drained from my account. Return it. Now. That was our shared money. I don't have to give it back. No, it wasn't. That money was mine, saved from before we even got married. You rarely held down a job long enough to contribute. You know that. Hearing how the money had been squandered on Greg and Mandy's little fantasy made me feel one thing: relief. Relief that I was finally rid of this man. So, just to be clear, I said, you stole my car and my money. That's more than enough for a criminal case. What? But you said we'd talk. I thought you dropped the charges. I said we'd talk. That doesn't mean I'm withdrawing anything. And now, I'll be adding theft to my report. Mom, should I call the police? Ryan asked, lifting his phone. One tap and they'll come right back. Mandy, who had been watching in silence, suddenly bolted for the camper door. But just as she opened it, she froze. Standing outside were her parents, faces flushed with rage. She stepped back, her expression twisting in panic as her mother shouted her name. I called your parents. I'm sorry, don't be so angry. But why are you here, Mom and Dad? Mandy's voice trembled. Her parents stood silent, their faces stiff with fury. I called them beforehand, Ryan said matter-of-factly. What? Why would you do that? During my hospital stay, Ryan had visited Greg's office alone, eyes red with tears, and told them, my dad left home with a strange woman, and my mom collapsed. The office staff, already suspicious of Greg and Mandy's inappropriate closeness, took Ryan seriously. They remembered the welcome party where Greg and Mandy looked more like a couple than colleagues. When Ryan asked around, he learned Mandy had been commuting from her parents' home. He went there, photo in hand, and told her family the truth. And today, he contacted them again, asking them to wait nearby. You're the worst, Mandy screamed, eyes darting between Greg and her parents. I don't want to hear that from you, I said coldly. That line belongs to me. I paused, then glanced at her belly. By the way, you seem pretty far along. When's the baby due? In 3 months, Mandy said quickly. 3 months? I raised an eyebrow. That doesn't make sense. You two only met 3 months ago. So how could the baby be due in 3? It's not time yet, Mandy stammered. It's still early. Greg blinked, confused. Wait, what are you saying? I crossed my arms. Are you that clueless? Pregnancy takes 9 months, Greg, which means this child isn't yours. Greg stared at Mandy, his face draining of color. You lied to me? I gave up everything for this. Mandy sighed dramatically. Well, I almost got away with it. What's the point in pretending now? You're just so easy to fool. Honestly, it was pathetic. Don't mock me. You've ruined my life. And then the argument exploded. Shouting, finger-pointing, tears, accusations. Greg and Mandy fell apart in front of all of us. No one intervened. They deserved to let it all unravel. Meanwhile, Ryan calmly contacted the police again. As twilight fell, red and blue lights flickered through the trees. A pair of police cars pulled up to the scene. Greg panicked. No, please, I was wrong, I really was. I'll change. I'll never cheat again. Just don't let them arrest me. Dad, Ryan said flatly, people like you don't change that easily, especially lazy ones. Exactly, I added. I can't trust you. You need to reflect and pay for what you've done. At the police station. But if I'm arrested, I won't be able to pay back the money. You want that? I don't mind, I said with a cool smile. Pay me back after you've atoned. Take your time. And don't worry, I've already found you a job. Greg's eyes widened. Yes, really, a subcontracting factory linked to the company I work for. Your wages, they'll be garnished. Child support, plus the $20,000 you stole, it'll all be deducted and transferred to me. His face crumpled with disbelief. I turned to Mandy. You may think you're just a bystander, but you're an accomplice to theft. If Greg can't repay the money, you'll be held responsible too. Be ready. Mandy shuddered. Desperately, she turned to her parents. But they looked away. We disown a daughter who brings shame and causes harm to others, her father said grimly. And just like that, the police placed Greg and Mandy into separate cruisers. Ryan and I stood side by side, watching them disappear into the night. Thanks to Ryan's sharp thinking and courage, we held them accountable for everything they'd done. They were released soon after, but they faced consequences. With help from a lawyer, I recovered the $20,000 as damages. Greg was also legally bound to pay $500 a month in child support. As promised, I arranged for Greg's wages to be docked. Every dollar he earned went toward what he owed. I sold the camper van, cleared the auto loan, and finally closed that chapter of our life. My health steadily improved. With the weight lifted from my shoulders, I regained energy, purpose, and peace. Ryan, as dependable as ever, helped around the house, cooking, cleaning, even managing errands. Watching him grow stronger and more independent filled me with pride. Now, more than ever, I want to live fully and move forward, so that my son, brave and brilliant, can pursue the path he chooses, without ever having to sacrifice his happiness.